Hi. Um, I'm looking at article here that I got that a friend of mine actually mentioned something about, and I bumped into it. It's entitled "How Amazon Changed the Seattle Skyline in the Last 5 Years." This could actually be any city that Amazon decides to move into. Seattle has a particular looking skyline. It's had that skyline for a very, very long time. It's very proud of its skyline because tourists recognize the skyline. You have the Space Needle that overlooks downtown, the Puget Sound. It overlooks the football stadium, CenturyLink, and it overlooks various other aspects of Seattle. And you have clear views from the Space Needle up into Queen Anne. You have views toward Capitol Hill and Beacon and First Hill. You have clear views in those directions, and with the buildings that they've built, you can still see the buildings at night when they're lit up at nighttime, but it complements the view from the Space Needle. And since the Space Needle was built and the restaurant was put on top, Seattle has kind of, how should I put this? Seattle has kind of tried to keep that skyline kind of sleek and sexy, sort of. I don't know if that's the correct term, but that's the way I see it. Now here, it says here, Amazon has been hiring thousands of new employees each year, giving headcount by 40% a year. Well, I'm sorry, let me repeat that. Amazon has been hiring thousands of new employees each year, growing headcount by 40% a year, according to the Seattle Times. Amazon had 5,000 Seattle employees when it moved to downtown from a different neighborhood in 2010. As of August of last year, it had more than 40,000 employees in the city. Now, when it says it had more than 40,000 employees, is that 40,000 employees from the citizens that were already in Seattle before Amazon opened up? Or is that 40,000 employees that were brought to Seattle after Amazon opened up? It's kind of like we don't like the employees, we don't like the citizens that are already here. We want a higher, hipper, smarter, richer class of employee moving to Seattle. We want Seattle to be sleek and young and hip and go out to bars every night, drink fancy coffee drinks and drink them fancy bar drinks and listen to live music and get up and go to work every day early in the morning and stay till late. That's kind of how it feels. It occupies more than 13 million feet of office space. 13 million. Can you imagine if that was an apartment? That would be like a mansion. It occupies more than 13 million feet of office space, according to permit information pulled by Build Zone. I'm going to look up Build Zone. I've never bumped into them before, but I'm curious to see what I can find. Build Zone, when they pulled it, they had enough to fill 5 Empire State Buildings. As hacker noon first discovered, the growth in Seattle since 2015 is visible from a camera atop the Space Needle. This time-lapse video shows how extreme growth has been. Now, I can't put the video up because I'm not that tech savvy. And just to give you a kind of a little insight before I finish, when I graduated high school, I had a chance to go to ITT Tech to do computers. My friend decided to go, and he told me, man, they're going to have computers in the house. Everybody's going to want these things. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But back then, it was mostly the Rudy computer. Apple kind of basically just started taking off as a viable type of home computer, but still, I didn't see it. Little did I know they would be putting computers in cell phones. So I passed. If I would have took that job, or if I would have went to school at ITT Tech when I had the chance to go for free, yes, back then they were offering classes for free. I could have got a degree in that, and I could have probably started working for Microsoft when I was living in Seattle. I could have used my degree in computing, and I could have went back to school and did some more stuff, but being an artist, I slacked off. Now it says here, this time-lapse video, okay, no time-lapse video. That is basically the whole story, I suppose. Huh. Wow. It shows that there's a time-lapse video. Okay. That was a small story, but I'm going to expound upon that because speaking about Seattle and speaking about about Amazon, Jeff Bezos, he takes Amazon and he moves into a city. Now, granted, Amazon kind of got started in Bellevue, I think. So that's kind of okay, but to move a headquarters into like New York, or to find another place to build a headquarters, yeah, I can see having a distribution center in different cities. I can see that. I can see having Amazon warehouses in different cities, because when you shop Amazon, there's local places in certain places, certain cities and states that might have stuff that Amazon carries, like Minneapolis, Minnesota, or Denver, Colorado, or Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas, or what have you. But to need a second Amazon headquarters, that don't make much sense to me, but I suppose. So yeah, when he comes into an area, it just brings in way more people, because now where are you going to house those 40-some thousand new people? That's now, if you get 40-some thousand existing Seattleites that already live in Seattle, that are the OG Seattleans, those are the ones that have been there forever, that were basically born and raised there. Then yeah, you know, you get them to work, and that's cool. But if you bring 40-some thousand more people into the city from outside the state, you're going to create a huge effing problem. So what is going to happen is it's going to be overcrowded. You're not going to have enough space to work in. So you're not going to have enough housing for the people to work when they get there. Some people have said, well, you know, we just decided to move. We didn't really have any plan. We figured we'd just get a job and find an apartment after we got there. Y'all probably moved because you heard the weed was good and you could smoke it and not get into trouble. A lot of people do that, but they're not telling you that they're doing that. So, just about everything that Amazon touches changes the landscape of the city. The city may not want to change, but once Amazon gets there, they kind of take the city hostage. And the citizens that are already there are the ones that suffer because of all the transplants that are brought in. And so that's just the way it goes. I suppose if you don't mind that happening to your city, I've asked myself this question: why should I mind? Why should I care? I'm not there right now, but I do care because I love Seattle. Anyway, that's a short video that I had come across an article on that I was very kind of interested in talking about. I wish it was a little more in depth because it's hard for me to expound on things, but if I got a guideline to go through, then that makes it easier. I can read and I can opinionate, and I can read and opinionate. Anyway, if you like my work and you think it's good, do a comment below. If you think it's good and you want to hear more, subscribe. I can use that. I'm just building up my fan base. I've got a whole 14 people subscribing. If you don't like my videos and you think they're kind of annoying, or you think they're boring or can be better, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. If you don't like it and you hit a thumbs down, that's cool. Just don't thumbs down because you're just an annoying turd head. If you're going to knock me down, let me know why. Just say, well, you know, I just don't care for your video style, and I don't think it's very good, and I think you should get off the internet and leave it to somebody better. That's cool too. I can take it. I got thick skin. I'm an American. So anyway, that's been All Things Considered, because I consider all things. Have a good night, Seattle, and all points beyond.